Hey there, future millionaires. Have you ever found yourself daydreaming about quitting your 9 to 5 and living off nothing but your investments? Sounds like a dream, right? But here's the kicker. Can you actually live off your pre-tax income from investments? That's exactly what we're diving into today. So grab your coffee or whatever beverage fuels your hustle, because we're about to break down everything you need to know about living off investments before taxes. And no, you don't need a trust fund for this. Let's get into it. Before we get to the good stuff, let's first understand what pre-tax income is. In the most basic terms, pre-tax income is money you make before the government takes its cut. So imagine you're making money through dividends, rental income, or capital gains. Those are all forms of income you get to claim before taxes hit. Now, why is this important? Well, the idea of living off pre-tax income means you're not factoring in your tax liabilities. It's like looking at your bank account balance and pretending that taxman is on vacation for the foreseeable future. Sounds too good to be true, right? Let's see if it is. Before you start thinking, great, I'm living the high life on my investments, just know, the taxman has a GPS on your finances. But for now, let's assume he's at least 30 miles away. So, what kind of investments can generate the sweet pre-tax income we're talking about? The big players here are dividends. These are the payouts you get from stocks or mutual funds. But let's be honest, it's not enough to buy a mansion. You're gonna need a lot of shares or a killer dividend stock portfolio to start pulling in serious pre-tax income. Interest from bonds are kind of like your financially responsible friend. They don't take big risks, but they do give you steady income. However, the returns can be pretty, well, less exciting than finding a $20 bill in your pocket. Rental income. Real estate. It's like the cool cousin who always has money. If you can manage a few properties and deal with the tenants, and maybe the occasional leaky roof, rental income can give you that pre-tax cash flow you dream about. Capital gains. If you're selling stocks or real estate and making a profit, that's a capital gain. But here's the tricky part. The more you make, the more likely it's going to be taxed as income. But hey, at least you made some money to pay those taxes, right? Now, don't go thinking you can just drop a few bucks into a high-risk stock and expect to retire next week. No one's retiring on penny stocks, unless your retirement goal is a small hut in the middle of nowhere with dial-up internet. Alright, so now you know the types of income that count as pre-tax. But the real question is, how much do you actually need to live off your investments? Let's break it down. Expenses. First, take a good look at your expenses. What do you spend every month? Housing, food, utilities, your Netflix subscription, because let's be honest, we all need that Breaking Bad rewatch. Add it all up. The 4% rule. The 4% rule. This rule states that, in theory, you can withdraw 4% of your investments each year and not run out of money for 30 plus years. So if you need $40,000 a year, you'd need a portfolio of about $1 million. Yikes. That sounds like a lot, but let's think about it. With smart investing, you could get there. Investment growth. You're not just living off the income, you're also hoping for some growth. Ideally, your investments should appreciate over time, meaning you could withdraw some cash and still see your portfolio grow, which is kind of like getting the best of both worlds. So, what are we saying here? You can't live off $10 a month in dividends unless you own shares in some very magical companies. And let's be honest, magic doesn't show up in your brokerage account unless it's your cat walking across the keyboard while you nap. Okay, reality time. The truth is, living off pre-tax income from investments is not impossible, but it's also not as easy as just throwing money in the market and sitting back with a margarita. Here's why it's hard. Inflation. As prices rise, your purchasing power decreases. That means, while your investments might be doing well, your lifestyle could become more expensive. Market volatility. The stock market can go up and down like a roller coaster. Sure, it generally trends upward in the long term, but it's not always smooth sailing. The last thing you want is to see your portfolio drop 20% in a year and have to dip into it for living expenses. Taxes. And let's not forget the tax man. While we're talking about pre-tax income here, you'll eventually have to pay taxes when you cash out. And depending on the type of investment income, those taxes could sting. Dividends, taxed. Capital gains, taxed. So you better budget for that inevitability. Basically, if you want to live off your investments, it's like preparing for a marathon, not a sprint. And yes, there may be some moments when you want to throw your hands up in frustration, but hey, at least you're not working for the man. So how can you actually make this work? Here are a few tips for living off pre-tax income from investments. Diversify. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. Spread your investments across stocks, bonds, real estate, and maybe even some alternative assets. This helps mitigate risk and keeps you balanced. Focus on cash flow. Look for investments that give you consistent cash flow, like dividend-paying stocks or rental properties. You want to live off that cash flow, not rely on selling investments to fund your lifestyle. Plan for taxes. Even though we're talking about pre-tax income, plan for taxes down the road. Keep track of how much you'll owe and set aside funds for when tax season rolls around. Keep your expenses in check. Don't get carried away with lifestyle inflation. Just because your investment income is growing doesn't mean you should start spending more. Stay frugal and smart with your money. At the end of the day, living off your pre-tax income from investments is a marathon, not a sprint. But if you stay patient and disciplined, you might just cross the finish line with a nice vacation home in the Bahamas. Or, something like that. So there you have it. Can you live off pre-tax income from investments? Absolutely, but it's not a get-rich-quick scheme. You'll need a smart strategy, diversified investments, and a whole lot of patience. But with the right approach, you could be on your way to financial independence. If you found this video helpful, or at least entertaining, give it a thumbs up, subscribe for more juicy finance tips, and share it with your friends who are also dreaming of that sweet, sweet investment life. Let's all work towards living off our investments together. Catch you in the next one. And remember, the best investment you can make is in your own financial knowledge.